Hey, this G Butterfly, and I'm coming to you live from the couch. I want to talk about this interview that I saw Martel Holt of Love and Marriage Huntsville. He had with the host of Ministry, which is a online show that's on Fox Soul. I think it's a relatively new show, but the host, I think her name is Nicole. She actually had a one-on-one interview with Martel, and they did like a 20-minute interview, and I think it's just to build up the anticipation for a show that they're going to do live in Atlanta on June the 4th. Well, Martell was on there, and she kind of talked about how the origin of her ministry, Ministry. I think that's how she pronounced it. She talked about the origin of her platform and how it was built on her just wanting to have an understanding from men and a man's perspective when it came to dating. Because she said that she was celibate for 8 months. I mean, 8 years, I'm sorry. I cracked up because if you would have seen Martell's face, he was like, can you explain that to me? Because I know Martell probably thinking, how the hell you did that? I couldn't do it for 8 weeks. Okay, but anyway, it was a very interesting interview. Martell just came right on out and told her he was not going to be transparent. So I don't know if he was doing that to try to have everybody salivating and just waiting for the live broadcast that's going to happen on June 4th, or if he just didn't want to tell any of his business because he probably got to keep it straight. Because I don't get the impression that Martell tells the truth very often. One thing that I did find while watching this interview, he kind of bounced around questions. He would never just come right out and answer a question directly. Now, one thing that I do believe that he was honest about was when he talked about the love of his children. I've always said that Martel, you can tell he's a good father, regardless of what kind of husband or mate he was. He genuinely loves his kids, so I do believe him when he talked about that. Now, I think she asked some questions regarding him and Mel, and he said he wasn't going to really speak about them because they were now filming and they were in a good place, and he didn't want to do or say anything in his interview that could set them back. I say, well, that shows a little level of maturity with Martel, that he didn't want to do anything that would cause any friction that would set them back. But then again, Martel knows that Melody is kind of hot right now. And I say that in a good way. I mean it in her career and everything that she has going on. So Martel knows to be seen with her, to what is it that they're doing to film with her would give him a little bit more exposure and probably help his overall appeal to the masses when it comes to what he did regarding Mel. So he said that he was just not going to talk about that. He was just going to kind of keep it on low. Now, what I did find interesting, he was kind of keeping up with the chat, but the lady that was interviewing him, I'm sorry, and I think her name was Nicole, she wasn't really keeping up with the chat. She was actually engaging and trying to just talk with Martel and ask him about what he had going on. And Martel was trying to read the chat. Baby, when she did read the chat, why she ran up on a question when everybody was asking her, where is Ariane? Where is Ariane? And for those who don't know, Ariane Curry is the young lady that had Martel's fifth child, but it was a son. Now, obviously, Miss Nicole from Ministry didn't know who Ariane was. And she kept saying, who is Ariane? Who is Ariane? Why is everybody asking about Ariane? Martel was quiet as a church mouse. He didn't say anything. Eventually, he had to go ahead and say who she was. And he said, that's my son's mom. And he kind of just left it hanging right there. But you could tell he didn't really want to talk about her. Why? Who knows? But he didn't want to give her too much energy on this interview. Now, one thing that I did find interesting is when the host, Miss Nicole, asked Martel, she said, well, do you think you and Melody will ever get back together? Because there's always that possibility. People can get divorced, and there still may be some feelings. Then they probably both have to go their separate ways, grow, reflect, heal, whatever they need to do, and they may potentially find their way back to each other. It happens to people all the time. But when she asked Martel, Martel was quiet, a little quiet for too long, and then he said, well, I just don't want to give everything away. I'll wait until the live. I don't know why, and I've said this all along. I believe that if Melanie gave Martel another chance, he would get back with his wife, because he talked about how much he missed his family, how much he missed being with his children a full time, having the children in the home. He said he believed that children should be raised in the home with both parents. and he just felt that was a better environment for children. And I say, I just believe that if Melanie said yes, Martel would definitely take the opportunity to put his family back together, because he knows that he's the ones that just shattered his family. And I guess he can see the toll it's taken on his children, he's taken on his family, I'm sure has taken on his finances, because I'm quite sure he took a hit. Well, we all know, hell, he didn't have his license. Melody was the one who held the license, so I'm quite sure that may be a stumbling block with him professionally. But I do believe he would love to be back in a home with his children now. As much as he believed children should be raised in a two-parent home, where would that leave his baby Knox that he has with Ariane? Because then that baby will be in the single-parent home. Not that he's not in the single-parent home now, but I'm sure that Martel is probably there, because even though he doesn't seem to really publicly claim her, Ariane makes it known every opportunity she get on live to let people know that she and Martel are still together to some degree. But that's all I got. It was an interesting interview. Like I said, they're going to have some kind of live broadcast in Atlanta on June the 4th. So we'll see how that go. I know somebody's going to take it. It's going to be online. It's going to be Martel, I think a few other panelists, and I guess the host from the show, Ministry, and it comes on Fox Soul. But that's all I got, was just my little tidbit on what I thought about Martel and his interview. And I did see a little snippet from a live that Ariane did, and she said that his wine was really good. I don't get the impression she was saying that just because that's her guy, because I like sweet wine. So I plan to buy a bottle of this wine, and when I do, I'll drink it and I'll give a little review online. But all right, now that's G Butterfly just coming to you live from the couch. Just wanted to talk about this interview that I saw with Mr. Martel Holt of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.